Who's ready for some NFL player props in the wild card round? Let's talk some pigskin. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and we're back to talk some NFL football player prop edition for the wild card round. I am jacked up, ready to go. It is almost that time to watch some playoff football. Quick reminder, if you're looking for game bets, sides, totals, things like that, that video is already out. We also give out the best trends for this weekend as well. And we also recap week 18 as well as our season overall record. In case you're curious, we put it all on that one. But we won over 17 units on player props this year. It's been our bread and butter all season long. So let's stay hot for the playoffs. But before we get into anything, as you guys know, a big help for me and how we've won over 17 units on player props was Outlier. Any graphics you see in this video or future videos are from an app called Outlier, the best player prop research tool on the market today. If you want to try it out, click that link below. You get a 7-day free trial. So let's get into it. And that means it's dad joke time. I'm going to give out two. Just why not? Because if they're only half good, you put them together, you got one good one. So here we go. What's the best way to save your dad jokes in a dad base? Okay. And the next one. I got a new pen that can write underwater. It can write other words too, though. I know. Lame, but I like it. In this video, we're going to dive right into our favorite NFL player props. We got nothing to recap because, like I said, that was in the last video. And then we're going to give our favorite anytime touchdown bets as well and finish it with the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below to help this channel continue to grow. And if you're new to the channel, come join this awesome community. Hit that subscribe button. I appreciate it. And also hit that Discord link below if you want to join us. It's completely free to join, and we talk sports every single day, and we sweat out bets every single night. So that's what we got. Now let's get into it, and that means it's player prop time. All right, player prop number one is an under. Give me Nico Collins under 6.5 receptions at -125 on DraftKings. Gave this out earlier today on the Discord. It is a 1-unit play. So we're going to start out today by fading the number one wide receiver in Houston. What could go wrong? But with this, let's go into Outlier now and look at some of the numbers for Mr. Nico Collins. So we start out with 2024 numbers. As you go scroll down, you can see he's under this line in 8 of 12 games. So just right off the bat, he just has not done this very often. So 2 of his only 4 overs, you see those red bars right there? 2 of those 4 were against the Jaguars. So any other team other than the Jaguars, he's over in 10 of 12 games, under in 10 of 12 games. Obviously, we know the Jags are the worst pass defense, one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. Now let's scroll down and kind of look at some more numbers also. You can see receptions and targets. So kind of what he's been doing. He's averaging 5.7 catches per game on 8.3 targets. He actually has, as you can see by the last 4 on the right, 6 or less targets in 3 of the last 4. Guys, I don't know about you. I just think it's a little hard to get 7 catches if you're getting 6 targets. That's all I have to say. So, I mean, let's say he gets 8, 9 targets. He has to be very efficient with that line. He's not exactly a short yard efficient type wide receiver where he's catching 95% of his targets or anything crazy like that. He's a big splash guy down the field. Those are hard to complete as well. So I just think this number is one too high, to be honest with you, at 6.5 because of the kind of receiver he is, because of how many targets he's been getting, things like that. But let's look at the matchup over there on the right. As you can see, versus wide receivers, the Chargers giving up the 10th fewest receptions to the wide receiver position. So it's a good matchup there. But what's even a better matchup is also that the Chargers are a top 5 defense defending number 1 wide receivers. They're bottom 5 when it comes to number 2 receivers. But guess what? They don't have really anybody else but Nico Collins. I expect Derwin James and this Chargers team to be physical. I think they'll be able to cover him even in the slot, send some double teams, some safety help to him. Because let's face it, Jim Harbaugh has one job, and that defensive coordinator, they have one job and one job only for the most part. It's slow down Nico Collins. If you slow down Nico Collins, this Texans offense will mightily struggle. And so I think that's what all their game plan is going to be. And it sucks for a number 1 wide receiver when you have no weapons around you. You've seen it in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson. When he was getting double, triple teamed, Jordan Addison was going off. They don't really have guys like that. And if they do, that's fine, as long as Nico Collins does not get it. Like I said, Mechie, who's now questionable, is the number 2 wide receiver. Diggs and Dell are out. So I just think they're going to make it tough on him. And even if even if he has an average game, again, he's under this in 8 of 12. So he doesn't usually go over this line. He could get 5 catches for 120 yards. That's fine. I'm all about receptions. I stayed away from the yards, obviously, because he is a guy who can make a really big play down the field and all that. So I didn't want to get beat that way. So I think the Chargers are going to get some pressure on Stroud as well, which is going to be hard to find your deep guy. So unless the Texans just change how they use him, and again, this is the playoffs. Playoff betting is extremely difficult, just so you guys know. because not all teams play exactly like they did in the regular season. They change things up and things like that. So as long as they don't all of a sudden use Nico Collins, on wide receiver screens all over and all that to get the ball in his hands, which they haven't done all season, I love him to stay under 6.5 catches. So Nico under 6.5 receptions is my first best bet. All right, this second one isn't over, and it's the juiciest one of the weekend, but I still absolutely love it. Give me Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I got this at minus 140 on FanDuel for 1 unit. Now, minus 140 is as high as I've ever gone giving out a bet, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. This should be close to minus 180, minus 190. This should not be playable. Lamar is an absolute touchdown machine. 2024 numbers, he's over this in 6 straight. How about 12 of the last 14 games he has thrown 2 or more touchdowns? It's a pretty insane hit rate. At home, Lamar is over this line in 5 straight games, 6 of 8 home games. They put up 34 points versus this Pittsburgh team last time. I don't think they're going to have a hard time scoring again in this one, which means he's going to get plenty of chances to throw 2 passing touchdowns. If you look at the matchup on this one, Pittsburgh's 10th in passing TDs allowed. It doesn't really matter, honestly. He just threw 3 touchdowns against Pittsburgh a few weeks ago. And in that game, he actually only had 23 pass attempts, and 3 of those were for touchdowns. So if you look at the most recent ones too, 5 of the last 6 quarterbacks have thrown for 2 or more touchdowns versus the Steelers. So it's a pretty decent matchup here. It's a straightforward bet. I don't really have much more to say other than the fact that he's been doing just every single game. I think because of how many chances they're going to get in the red zone, I think he's going to get plenty of opportunity. They have a chance to score quite a few points, especially when you look at their team total and all that. So he's done it already. I expect him to do it yet again. I am surprised this line, like I said, is not really, really high. I'm surprised at minus 140 at a playable line. I got to take it. It's a 1 unit play. Give me Lamar over 1.5 passing touchdowns as my second best bet. All right, this third one is a guy we've bet on many times this year. Give me Bucky Irving. Longest rush, over 17.5 yards at minus 114 on FanDuel. I'm going to go half unit because I always bet a half unit for longest rush, longest reception, that kind of thing. You need a little bit of luck here, but I guess we need luck on every bet. So we cashed his longest rush last week when he played Carolina. We're going to do it again. So if you don't know already, Bucky Irving is one of the most explosive running backs in the NFL. 7th in explosive run rate, 4th in yards after contact, averaging a crazy 5.4 yards per carry. And in fact, in games where he's had 14 plus rush attempts, because he started out this season where he didn't get a ton, but in the games where he's just had 14 or more, he's over this line as the longest rush in 5 of those 6 games. The one under was a rush of 15 yards. I mean, he was right there. He has a rush attempts line of 17.5. He is going to get the ball a decent amount here. Now, the matchup. We talked about it when we talked to best bet for this game, which if you want to go check it out, see what it is. But Commanders have been bad versus the run. They've given up the 5th most yards per attempt at 4.8. In week 1, he had a 31-yard carry against his Commanders team. Whatever that's worth. It's not the reason I made this better. And the week 1 was a long time ago. But game script, I'm expecting it to be competitive or the Bucks playing with the lead. So there should be a lot of running. I don't see the Commanders running away with this one. So overall, I don't mind his over rush yards. I almost went with it, but it's getting higher and higher. So like I did last week, I'm going to pivot to his over longest rush. He is a top 5 running back in the NFL right now. It is what it is. He is fun to watch. The O-line is making some holes for him. He's got good vision. And as you guys just heard, he is an explosive runner that makes big plays. So let's hope the buck doesn't stop here. Give me Bucky Irving over 17.5 yards for a longest rush as my third best bet. All right, this fourth and final player prop before we get to those anytime touchdowns is, again, another guy you guys already know. It's a Bronco. You can probably say it out loud right now. Give me Marvin Mims, baby. Marvin Mims over 38.5 receiving yards is where I'm going to go with this one. Minus 115 on Bet365. This is a 1-unit play. We're going back to the well. We're 2-0 on Marvin Mims. Let's make it 3-0. I have no reason to not bet this again. Is it a trap? It could be, but I just don't understand this line again. So hopefully we can win it. But since he's become more involved in the offense, like we've talked about, it's been 7 games now. He's over this line in 6 of 7 games. Not only that, guys, in the last 7, he's averaging a little over 60 yards per game. That is crazy. He makes huge splash plays. In fact, he has a 32-plus yard catch in 6 of 7 games. You could go as long as reception if you want to do that too. We're talking in 6 of 7 games, he's practically went over this line or come close to it in 1 catch. That's it. It's just crazy. It leads the NFL in the last 7 games in average separation, just to show you how good he is at running routes, using his speed to separate from the DB. And he's also the number 1 guy in yards after catch per reception. We've talked about this. This guy is lightning quick, and he has a lot of yards after catch, and that's why he's making big plays. He has 5+ targets in 4 of the last 6 games, 4+ targets in 6 straight. He has just been unbelievable. This 38.5 line, I think, should be close to 50, to be honest with you. And the matchup, Bills 17th in yards allowed to wide receivers, so, average matchup there. And to me, with Mims and how he plays, as long as you don't have a terrible matchup and just lockdown defense everywhere, then you should be good. But the game script, I fully expect the Broncos to be playing from behind, as you guys probably heard in my game bets video, which means a lot of passing for Denver. So if somehow he gets slowed down in the first couple quarters, they're going to be throwing it a ton, and he could get this in the fourth quarter as well. So we're going to ride the hot hand here as the books are a little slow to move this line. Give me Marvin Mims over 38.5 receiving yards as my fourth and final player prop. But before we get into the anytime touchdowns, just want to let you guys know any added player props will be in the pinned comments below on X and on Discord. All right, let's check out those touchdown bets. All right, here we go. As you guys know, we give out anytime touchdowns every single weekend. I'm going to have two. I usually have three, but obviously not as many games. I'm going to give you two. They're going to be a quarter unit each for me because that's just what I do. You need some luck on these, so I don't put a ton of units into them, but I do put a ton of research into them. So hopefully we can get two winners. This first one is a long shot. Have you heard of him? His name is Marvin Mims. That's right. Marvin Mims, anytime touchdown, plus 270 on DraftKings. This is a straight value play, guys. This line is almost 3-1. And you know how good he's been. I just told you about it. But let's talk his touchdowns. He has 4 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. Let me say that again. 4 TDs in the last 2 weeks. We're getting almost 3-1. Yes, 2 touchdowns in each of the last 2 games. He can score on any play, anytime he touches the ball. That's the kind of speed he has. And even if he doesn't get it early, like I mentioned before, he could get this in the fourth quarter with them trailing by 21 or whatever it is if they're playing from behind. This is just way too much value to pass up. Not just 4 touchdowns last 2 games, 6 touchdowns in the last 7 games. And obviously before that doesn't matter because he was not a part of the offense. So since he's become a major part of the offense, he is a huge red zone target. If they were just putting odds on this one based on how he's played the last 7 games when he was actually playing on the field, this would not be plus 270. So it didn't make sense to me. I got to do it. Mims is the word. So that's the first one. Second one, not as much of a long shot, but still plus money. Given Mark Andrews anytime touchdown, plus 155 on DraftKings. This man had 0 touchdowns in the first 5 weeks. Since then, 11 touchdowns in the last 12 games. Absolutely insane. He's just a touchdown machine. He scored a touchdown versus Pittsburgh in the last matchup. He has the highest red zone target share on the Ravens, around 25%. And now Zay Flowers is out of this game, so it's going to be even more Mark Andrews. 1+ red zone target in 11 of his last 13. You already heard me talk about Lamar. I think he's going to throw 2 or more touchdowns again. Let's just hope one of those is to Mark Andrews yet again. So Mark Andrews and Marvin Mims are my 2 anytime touchdown plays. Leave a comment below. Let me know your guys' touchdown plays. I know you like to bet those as well, but that's what I got for the player props and the TD bets for wild card round. Again, we're going to have our own separate video for that Monday game if it's played on Monday, but between the Vikings and the Rams. So before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, there it is. Nico Collins under 6.5 receptions, minus 125 for 1 unit. Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's a little juicy, but I love it. Minus 140 for a unit. And then Bucky Irving over 17.5 yards for his longest rush, minus 114 for a half unit. And then our boy Marvin Mims over 38.5 receiving yards at minus 115 for a unit. And then we have, of course, our anytime touchdown bets. Marvin Mims again, plus 270 on DraftKings. That is a quarter unit. And Mark Andrews, anytime TD, plus 155 for another quarter unit. So that's what we got. Let's get some winners again. All the game bets are in the other video, so we got a lot of action this weekend. Hopefully we can have a great weekend of football to start the playoffs. But thank you guys for watching. As always, if you haven't hit that like button, I would appreciate it. But hope you have a great weekend enjoying some playoff football, and we'll talk to you soon.